Greetings, humans.
Greetings, humans. What is up?
Good afternoon, Dave. Welcome to another show.
Yo, Thursday night in the Cosmic Studio. It's summer vacation, isn't it, Mike? First day of summer vacation. What's up?
Yes, sir, it is. Thanks for asking. I just wrapped up first semester back at school for a master's degree. Had a couple exams yesterday. And shoot, to be honest, I hadn't even been thinking about the podcast the last few days. I've mostly been wrapping up school, but glad to be done. Looking forward to the summer. How about with you? What's new in Dave world?
Well, it's always summer vacation in Dave world, but I just had my first meeting with a local middle school basketball team that I'm going to be helping out coaching this year. I'm pretty excited about that. Played basketball for about 12 years of my life, and it's my favorite thing in the world for a long time, though I realized I was 5'7", and but I'm pretty good, at least I was, and so I'm looking forward to showing my leadership skills, helping out the next generation, and just hanging out with the guys. I miss that kind of atmosphere from the military and from playing sports. So I'm pretty pumped. It was a fun meeting. The two coaches I'm going to be working with are really nice.
I'm really happy for you, Dave. I think that'll be fun. You'll be making a positive impact in the community. Very cool.
Exactly. Yeah. And I selfishly, I think it'll be good for me as well. So yeah, let's go. Hey, we got a bunch of new subscribers. I think we've got like 57 new subscribers in the last 28 days. So if you're one of those new subscribers, thank you so much. Thanks for joining the Multiverse. This is our Thursday night live stream. It's not always Thursday night. It's not going to be Thursday forever, but for now it is. Yep. And we just like to have fun on this one, right, Mike?
Heck yeah, Thursdays at 6 Eastern have been good to us. We like to pull up a few news articles, weather articles, catch up on our lives. We do have a special guest feature tonight, so probably in about 25 minutes we'll begin that segment. I wanted to go ahead, Dave.
No, I just pretty pumped up Jason Quitt. He's a veteran of the Multiverse. I'll give him a full intro when we're about to bring him in, but anytime Jason's got something new he's working on, we'll let him come on the show. I also wanted to shout out the old subs, the people have been around for a while. Thank you so much. And somebody subscribed. Jay the Jedi, yeah, he's up in the chat. He's been around for a minute. Thank you so much. Scarlett, always here every Thursday. Thank you so much to Scarlett from LA. Actually, she's from Georgia, just living in LA, but that's still pretty cool. And yeah, I feel like there's something else I was going to mention. I think it's gone. Oh well. But yeah, old subs, new subs. Oh yeah, somebody subscribed to our channel through through
buymeacoffee.com. After last week's show, Dave, Brittany, and I were all ecstatic because of whoever it was. Thank you so much. You put a donation in our Buy Me a Coffee. You bought us a few coffees, to be honest, and we really appreciate that.
Yeah, gosh, we were all texting afterwards. Did you see that? Somebody subscribed to the show. Woohoo! It was like pretty cool moment because we're doing this for fun, but if it's all coming out of our pocket. But we're looking to bring you guys lots of cool content moving forward and be very consistent with it. And we're also going to check out a few conferences coming up, and we'll mention those. Bring back some good content from there as well. Hello, Jim Fry, back for another week. Thank you so much for joining again.
Yep.
Yes, sir. Funny short, little fun to start it off. What do you think?
A show that never ends. Yeah, go ahead and show it.
All right. So I married into a Mexican family, and my wife sent me this a little Instagram short featuring brain farting on this guy's name, Andrew Schultz, the comedian. And this is definitely content related to our show. So let's check it out.
I don't know about these Egyptians. I don't think they made those pyramids. This is how you know Mexicans are the greatest workers in history. Ready? There are also pyramids in Mexico. No one questions who built those. Ain't no hour-long History Channel special about the pyramids in Mexico. Who built the pyramids in Mexicans, mother... There was a quinceañera, they needed a tent, they had that shit up by Saturday. Aliens probably came, but they're like, we got it, don't worry about it. I'll taken care of, aliens.
And I can concur. Hardest working people I know. Hardest working people I know. So I can concur. So sometimes if we like to start off the show with a little fun, a little lighthearted fun, or something uplifting, and that one cracked me up earlier.
Andrew Schultz is so goofy. And I remember he actually had Graham Hancock on his podcast one time. And I watched it for a little while. It was kind of cringy. It was very silly. Andrew was not prepared, and Graham was like, what is this guy talking about? It was a good show.
Yeah, and he's trying to crack jokes and stuff that Graham wasn't getting and whatnot. Yes. And to be fair, there is hour-long documentaries on the History Channel about the pyramids in Mexico, but there's less like conjecture or whatever about who built those ones. Pretty sure Mexicans built those bad boys.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, what's up, Jeff up north? Back again. Thank you so much for joining.
I wanted to share my screen real briefly, Dave. You know, we watched YouTube, obviously. I watched YouTube this morning, and one of the reasons we started a channel is to share stuff with y'all, the audience. I got so much lined up for my YouTube tonight. All of this came out since breakfast today. There was not a full-blown congressional hearing, but a UAP roundtable discussion talk with Anna Luna and some of the other whistleblowers we featured on the channel before. One of my other favorite channels, Land of Kim, always dropping videos. Hugh Newman on the Danny Jones Show, Hal Putoff on the Joe Rogan Show, and Joe McMonagle on the Matt Bell Show. Which one of those would you even start with, Dave?
Well, I watched. So Danny dropped a Hugh Newman that was an hour long, which was 57 minutes, like a few days ago, and I was like, that's really short for Danny Jones. Usually 3.5 hours or something. I was like, what's up with that? He saved it, I guess, for 2 or 3 drops. So I would go back and finish that because I love Hugh. And Hugh's going to be at Cosmic Summit 2025, no?
Yep, he is.
Yeah,
I think,
cool.
Yeah, pretty sure.
Yeah. You want to support the channel, promo code Multiverse for 10% off your passes. I also wanted to mention about that, the congressional hearing. I did a little background check on that. So they had a SCIF, which is what does a SCIF stand for again? Brittany, can you Google that for me?
Compartmentalized informational facility, something like that.
Yeah, so they essentially like go in behind a bunch of like super secure doors and get all their phones taken away, and then they get shown and the good stuff and told the good stuff, and then they get told what's classified and what they're able to say and what they're not able to say. And this is in relation, they do it for lots of stuff, but this is in relation to UFOs and UAPs. And so the next thing coming up with that is so they did the SCIF on the 29th. They had a round table on the 30th. Actually, I think it was today. And we're supposed to be getting a House committee oversight, public House committee oversight on UAPs based on that SCIF and that round table on May 12th, which is a Monday. Sometimes they switch this stuff up, but Mike and I are planning on going live for that. So we'll make sure to remind you guys. Yeah, there we go. We'll make sure to remind you guys about it, but we're going to go live. And if you want to watch that live with us, you're welcome. Did y'all catch the Danny with Rick in the code?
I know we're bouncing around, but Jim Fry, I saw this one in my feed a few days ago. I still haven't watched Rick Strassman on the Danny Jones Show. There's more hours of good shows coming out every day than there are hours in the day for me to watch shows. So instead of watching shows, we do our own show.
Every morning I look at my YouTube after I do my like stretches and my mindfulness, and I turn it on and I go, what the, I can't even watch all this stuff. I literally don't have the time, and it's one of those things where you kind of have to choose one or listen to a bit of each. So yeah, anyway, that's so much to watch. So, but if you guys ever have good episodes or podcasts we've never heard of or we've never talked about, please drop them in the chat. We'd love to hear about that stuff.
That's all really cool. Leave them in the comments that way you can share them with everybody. That'd be great.
Can I do a book of the month?
Yeah, let's hear it for a new book of the month. It's the 1st of May.
1st of May, book of the month. Veteran of the Multiverse, Adam Butler, Butler's DMT Field Guide, a brief history, step-by-step recipes, and personal experiences from a DMT-saturated consciousness. Adam is on a mission to help people and to share his knowledge of psychedelics. And he did an interview on our series Humans of the Multiverse. Please go back and check it out. It was amazing. And he's a really great guy. And he's coming on the show next week too.
Woohoo!
Yeah, he's coming on the live stream with a friend named Noah. Brittany, can you find me that guy's name? Noah something. He's a journalist who's an expert in ibogaine, the psychedelic drug ibogaine. Brittany just dropped in the chat for the book of the month a link to the book. If you buy the book using the link, the Amazon link we provided, it's a way to support the show and to support Adam. That name's Noah Daly. So we're having Adam Butler and Noah Daly have a big long talk about psychedelics next week. I'm pretty pumped. How about you, Mike?
Mm-hmm. That'll be great. I can't wait to catch up with Adam.
Yeah, me too. He's always up to something. I do have a quick short to share of Adam's interview with us, which we did at least a month ago.
About a month ago, probably over a month ago now.
Yeah, but let's see here. No, it's not that one. It's not that one. Did I get rid of it? Maybe I got rid of it. No, I got it. I got it. Yeah, there we go. And this is just a short from his interview. We'd love you guys to go back and check it out.
It's so easy to not be a depressive, anxious, nasty person because it feels so good. And you know, that really is the benefit, is the practical benefit is my day-to-day life is just so much happier. Now, full of bills, I've got debt to the IRS. Like I said, I don't have any of the material wealth, but I know that I'll get that, I'll get it again, and then I'll be able to put it in balance where now I'm not gonna let those things define me. And I'll be able to use them for a greater good other than just look at my ego, clout, and look what I can get.
You absolutely will. And now with your newfound internal harmony, it's going to come faster when you harmonize your surroundings, because before you were struggling, pushing uphill to try to make all the money and have all the prestige. Now it's going to come naturally when it comes.
And, you know, being authentic and raw conveys in both ways. And I think, you know, as smart or as intellectually sound as I was before, or persuasive as I was as a salesman before, I think, you know, wise people could maybe see through that facade that I was a broken man who was really just trying to like make up for a lot of shit that I was not dealing with. Where now every one of my interactions, whether I become a high-end salesman again, whether I just continue to sell my books, whether I become a counselor. I was an elementary school teacher last year. I did that for a couple months just to kind of like expand my horizon. I have no idea what I'm going to do, but I know everything that I do now will be full of authenticity and love and connection.
Yeah, this guy he really went from, like, in his eyes, zero to hero, and like it actually was the opposite of what you might think. Like, he had everything, the girls, the car, the job, and he was miserable. And some things happened in his life. He'll tell you the story on our episode that basically made him do a 180, and now he's one of the happiest guys I know. Check out his book. Buy his book, Butler's DMT Field Guide. The link is in the description. It's also in the chat, and it supports Adam and our show. So, yeah.
Yeah. Jeff up north had asked, do we watch Forbidden Frontier at all? It's ringing a bell, but I can't say that I've watched it.
I don't think I have either. If you wouldn't mind throwing a link in the chat, I'll put it up in my queue for later.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into what's going on it's been a weird week on planet Earth, hasn't it, Mike?
Planet Earth. Let's start with the last 24 hours on our star. Looking at the sun. Oop, I had a little comment. Let's move our faces. There's a big old sunspot, and it is approaching the Earth. You can see on the left, the western part of the sun here. The sunspot came into view a couple of days ago and will be facing the Earth directly within a couple of days. Let's watch the movie. Going back, let's see if it shows this brief solar flare as that sunspot rounded the corner. This was back on Tuesday. You can see, bam, right there.
Oh, that's dope.
So there was believe there was a CME
Another one down there.
associated with a coronal mass ejection, but it was non-Earth directed. I'm going to rewind it to the beginning. They just updated this. I think it removed some of the frames. There it is.
Cool.
Solar flare on Tuesday.
Thank you, son, for it's warm, giving me vitamin D.
Space weather, however, has been relatively quiet the last couple of days. A little bit of geomagnetic activity today, but nothing too crazy. I wanted to look at the KP indexes for the last 7 days, though, because the next topic we're going to cover is these power outages over in Europe. And one of the first theories that got thrown out there about these power outages was that it was somehow related to solar activity. I just want to point out that on that was Monday this week, April the 28th, extremely quiet solar conditions. Extremely quiet solar conditions on Earth. KP indexes were very low, normal. KP index, of course, is quantifying the disturbance in the horizontal component of the Earth's magnetic field. So back on Monday, when these power outages started happening in Europe, the sun was behaving itself. It was behaving quite modestly, just for reference. And one thing I noticed, the KP index I showed on the last slide, this is coming from a NASA observatory in Colorado. Maybe if they're taking measurements in other parts of the Earth, there could be other disturbances that don't get detected. I'm not sure, but 3-hour measurements from ground-based magnetometers.
Yeah, that was my first thought when the power outages went down. There's all this hullabaloo about coronal mass ejections, as well as the magnetic pole shifts and our magnetic field weakening, and so I thought it was something like that, but apparently it wasn't. What was it?
Still worth checking on. Well, and that's the $100,000 question. Let's switch to this article. What do we know? Now, this is already yesterday. It's already a day old. What do we know about what happened? Sweeping power outage that hit Spain and Portugal has raised questions. Authorities are still investigating exactly what caused the failure, but here's what we know. Started at 12:30 p.m. local time. First was Spain losing 15 gigawatts of electricity, which is about 60%. And that cascaded through the area, affecting Spain, Portugal, and parts of France.
I'm wondering if Ricardo's watching, let us know how things are going over there. Our friend of the show, Ricardo Calvario, lost power for a while. And he said things got chaotic pretty quickly. Then he got power back. And I haven't heard from them in a day or so. So anyway, just wanted to inject that in there. So Ricardo, I hope you're all right.
Yeah, we hope you're doing well. And if you got time to hop in the chat later, let us know what's going on from firsthand experience. Anyhow, I thought it was interesting that about 3 hours before the outage, some power quality sensors, smart home sensors, started showing warning signs of a unstable grid. What's up, Jason? Welcome.
What's up, Jason? We're just going to finish our stuff, but thank you for joining the live stream.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I unmuted. I'm here.
Nice. We got our friend Jason Quitt on the show, veteran of the show. How are you doing today, man?
Good. It's a rainy day in Ontario, but pretty good.
Very cool. Jason is a veteran of the show. He's author, researcher, speaker. He's going to be talking about his new book once we finish up our stuff. Glad to have you back, my friend.
Good to be back.
Heck yeah.
Right, let's go.
Well, we'll go ahead and hit fast forward through the rest of this. One interesting thing I saw, I wanted to share that there were telecom outages in Greenland as well during the same time across the Atlantic. I didn't notice that until today when I was looking up info for the show.
I never even heard of that one.
High out, and then we see a comment from Shaman 711 was talking with Ricardo. Interesting theories, high altitude electronic wires. That was the next tab I had pulled up. Possibly induced atmospheric vibration. This is another theory that, to be honest, scientists, nobody's coming out and saying they know exactly what happened, neither the authorities or the experts or whoever yet. So we're just here sharing news articles with y'all. We don't know ourselves.
I've heard some wild theories.
Yeah. Shoot, I don't have time to read through all that. In fact, since we're fast forwarding, I do hope that everybody that was affected remains safe, that it would have caused a bit of chaos for people. But I did want to share on the silver lining on a positive note. A lot of people went out and had picnics in Barcelona in the afternoon. And I just wanted to share that sometimes these events can be ways to bring the community together and snap people out from their phones and computers and televisions and whatnot. And maybe just go outside and talk to each other. That's a good thing.
That is a good thing. That is a good thing when people stay calm and, I always remember as a kid when the power would go out, we'd have a lot more fun. Like we'd go outside, we'd run around. I remember I lived in an apartment building, so the power would go out and everything, the hallways would be dark. So we'd run around playing hide and seek in the dark and stuff like that. Good times.
Growing up on the Gulf Coast, a slight hurricane in that first or second week of school. School just started. Then, we got a hurricane this weekend. We better close school down again for a week. That always worked out nicely. Not wishing for any massive storms, of course, but.
Interesting, Jim Fry, regarding the power grid. I build factories and handle the electrical. If we lose utility power transformers, new ones take 2 to 3 years to build. I'm pretty sure that Walking Dead would happen before 2 to 3 years happened.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to, before we get to Jason, quickly just mention, because we've been covering this for a while, the asteroid 2024 YR4 that everyone was getting crazy about. I'm going to do a little thing. They were predicting it's going to hit possibility of hitting Earth in December 2032. The latest calculations conclude asteroid 2024 YR4 now poses no significant threat to the Earth, but supposedly it has a 1.2% chance of hitting the moon. I'm going to show a quick graphic of that on Eyes on Asteroids. So let's check that out. You can see the Earth there, and there's the asteroid. It's December 12th. We'll speed it up. And this is what it's going to look like. And that's it, zooming past the Earth, the moon. So narrow miss there. I'm gonna rewind it so we can see it a little slower.
So the moon was formed from the Earth getting hit by a really, really big asteroid, and it knocked enough. And then if another smaller one hit the moon, could the moon have a moon? A big moon square?
Well, assuming that's how the moon was created. That's the general consensus theory. So
It's a hypothesis.
That's the hypothesis. Yeah. But yeah, Jason, man, big week in Canada. What's the temperature like in Canada this week without getting too political?
I
don't want not to put you on the spot.
Well, it's I don't really talk politics. I keep it very mysterious, but I'll just say that for someone who does follow politics very closely, it was a big disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
It was a big disappointment because there was a lot happening over the past 5 years, but if you go back even 10 years, it's been pretty bad here. And the last government that was in place, which was the Liberal government still under Trudeau, you remember the government has been shut down for months and months and months and months because there was so much corruption. There was so much problems going on with the government that almost the top cabinet resigned or quit because of how bad things were being run. And because of the chaos and because of the corruption, because of the lack of transparency, they have shut down the government for so long. And because of that, the conservative popularity went up, and this is where you got the rise of Pierre Poilievre. And then once Trudeau stepped down because he couldn't even take the heat, it was so bad. So he steps down, and everybody thought, thank God, finally we're going to get a change in government. And then swoops in the savior Mark Carney and focused his entire campaign on saving Canada from Trump and getting all this kind of fear-based politics running. I hope I'm giving a good runaround for this. But I
did put you on the spot, but I appreciate it.
Yes, and then and then suddenly, supposedly, all our problems are going to just go away because there's a new figurehead. But all the staff, all the people that quit, they all got their jobs back, most of them. So it's basically still the same government. I'm sure, like the person said, everything will be fine. I'm just saying that there has been a lot of pressure in Canada, and a lot of people are feeling that pressure, vocalizing that pressure, and believing that a change would occur because of the things that went on for the past couple of years.
Yeah.
So again, we still have to move forward, but I can't wait for the House of Commons to open up again, because there has been a shift in power. Even though the Liberals may get a majority very shortly by consolidating possibly the NDP and the Greens, which is just one or just a couple seats, but that's all they need for a majority government. But even if that's the case, the Conservatives, I think, gained about 20 seats, which is the largest gain they've had since about the 1980s or the late 1980s. So there has been a real shift in government, and we're just going to have to wait and see. And now, if you're noticing what's going on in Alberta with Alberta independence, so Canada is in a real moment, moment. So we're just sitting back and watching. No fear, I don't trust either side anyway, so it doesn't make a difference to me.
Yeah, I appreciate your insight on that, man. I'm a dual citizen. I grew up in Nova Scotia. I've been watching what's been happening from a distance the last 10 years, and I'm not on either side. I just was like thinking 10 straight years of like prices going up and things like that, and just like you said, mentioned corruption. And then the lead was the biggest lead of all time in the polls 5 months ago, as far as I understand. And then all of a sudden, whoosh. And I was in awe, like shocked on Monday. I was like, what the? But one thing I noticed, and I want to take this into a positive spin like you did, was that all of my Canadian friends who were like hoping for a big change are trying to see the bright side, and they're trying to I didn't see a whole lot of people rooting for the Liberals to fail. Everyone wants them to do a good job, right? Everyone's okay. Let's see what happens, and Canadians are famous for that, man, making lemonade out of lemons, and I think it's true. Everything is going to be fine up there. It was just a shocking turn of events. I didn't see it coming.
Well, I'll tell you a real bright side to this is that everybody is now focused. Like we are like dead focused on what's happening with the government, when in the past we weren't. We were more focused on the U.S., like what's going on with Trump. We really wanted to know Canadian or American politics. We ignored Canadian politics.
Yeah.
And now because of we're now facing there might be some hardship down the line. They've already released a financial report that we're going to enter a recession now. So there's a lot of things, and more spending, more deficit, more things like that, which will raise inflation and food costs and gas and hidden carbon taxes. So with all that in the background, the Canadian population, I think, is now very focused on what the government is doing, when before they were not.
Okay.
So I think that we're going to hold them to account a little more.
I think so too. I sat in my dismay for about a day, and then I walked out of it. I've been kind of keeping Mike in the loop on the Canadian politics all week.
Dave and I both share your approach of staying well informed. We actually follow this stuff fairly closely day to day. However, we decided at the beginning that it doesn't need to be our like week to week version of the show. However, you just did a really excellent job of describing things in a fair and pleasant manner.
Yeah. So thank you so much.
Oh, great. Yeah. You got me to talk politics. Damn.
It's because I threw you under the bus a little bit. Yeah. Honestly, it was not part of my plan. It just kind of came out. That's what happens though. Mike, he thinks about what he's going to say before he says it. I just go.
I should have known a couple Canadian fellows would have the most polite conversation about it. It was a respectful conversation. I'm glad Americans take note. Let's maybe take a lesson there.
Well, I don't know if you saw what I posted on X a couple days ago, but I said Americans need to focus on Canada now. You know,
Yes.
the Canadians have been focusing on America, and we watch your news. We know everything that's happening.
I
We know
know,
all
it's
the
wild.
names of your congressmen and women and what's going on in the Senate. We know all these things. You don't know anything about Canada. So I've been watching a lot of people from America giving their opinion on what they think has happened in Canada, and they don't understand this political system at all. They think
Yeah.
it's a very much like an American system.
Right.
And we have multiple parties. We have the East versus the West. Like, there's all these weird things going on in Canada that you have to take into effect.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny though. So when I moved from Canada to the U.S. and I joined the army, I had this like thick Nova Scotian accent, so there was no hiding, right? So I became the butt of a lot of jokes. That's what happens. I took it in stride, just take the shit, give it back. But one thing I noticed was I would ask Americans when I first got down. This is about 2004, 2005. I would ask Americans like questions about Canada to see what they knew, and they would ask me questions too. And some of the questions I got were just wild. Like you wouldn't believe it. One guy asked me, like, this is a real question. The real story. I shit you not. He said, "Who's the king of Canada?" Okay. And I thought he was kidding. So I said, "Oh, it's Wayne Gretzky." And he goes, I swear to God, he goes, "Oh yeah, that makes sense." And I just let him think that. He might still think that. I don't know.
Well, isn't it King Charles now?
I guess so. Yeah, apparently, yeah. And then another guy asked me if I had to wear snowshoes on my way to school, and he was serious as well. And now in some places you probably do, but not in Nova Scotia.
When I first started traveling to the U.S., and I would say it's from Canada, they still had that opinion. It's like, "Oh, are you still living in igloos? Like, it must be cold up there."
Yeah.
I thought they were joking, but they were they're not joking.
No.
Never mind the fact that it was native tribes building igloos in the Arctic areas, not settlers in the Canadian frontier necessarily.
Right along the St. Lawrence River. That's funny. Good stuff. So you've been up to a lot of stuff, Jason. How was the Conscious Life Expo?
Yeah.
Oh, that's always a fun time, and I always love going out to California. We have Conscious Life Expo, Contact in the Desert, and those are kind of like the main shows right now that I'm going to. So I'm trying to remember the first time I went out there. I think it was about 2017 or 2016. And you go and you see all your friends that you only see like once or twice a year. I think you guys are coming. Aren't you coming this year?
Yeah, we're coming to Contact. Yeah, we're all booked. We're excited to meet you in person and some other friends we already talked to. We interviewed Yvonne Smith. I don't know if you know her, but her interview coming out soon.
Of course.
Yeah.
So that's it was a really great time, and I got to see some friends. Also, I got to leave the hotel, which sometimes you don't have the opportunity to do when you're there speaking. But I got to film some podcasts in LA and then see some friends. So it was a great experience, and time is going by so quick that it's already May. It's coming in like less than 4 weeks.
Yep.
That's wild. Yeah, that we when we decided to go like about 3-4 months ago, it seemed like forever, and now it's like Mike's finished school, we're gonna be on our way. Do you have any like tips for us? Like, this is our first time going. It's like a 5-day thing. Like, it seems like there's so much to choose from and so many things to do, speakers to go to. What's the best approach?
You have to know it's very hot. Right? You are in the desert. So when you go outside, it's like you're entering an oven for sure. So they have a huge swimming pool. So if you have a bathing suit and you just want to like relax, they have a great place to do that. But what I would do is they give you this big brochure, I guess, or a big magazine, and just go through it, mark off all the talks that you want to see. And there's so many to choose from. And this is, it's not a problem, but there will be probably about 5 talks going on at once.
Overlaps.
Yes. So you have to choose which room and which speaker you want to go see because it's such a large event.
Mhm.
But the beautiful thing about it is everything is videotaped. So the moment that the person stops speaking, they ship it right to the DVD printers. So you could, like, if you miss one of your favorite speakers, you could just go around the corner and grab the DVD of what you missed.
Cool.
So so that just pick, relax, and it is very social, especially like after dinner. You know, everybody will kind of be in the lobby. There's a nice bar there. There's lots of events happening. So you'll get a chance to meet everybody. And the beautiful thing about this event, just like I guess in other events, is that if, let's say, you have a favorite person that you just came to see, you know, this is not some like elite thing. You're probably going to see them hanging out at the bar or like walking around just talking to people, you know. So you can go right up to people and have conversations, and you'll find that it's a very community environment.
Cool.
That's great. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, you guys will fit it for sure.
Good, perfect. Last time you were on, you mentioned you weren't sure if Travis was coming, Travis Walton. Any word on Travis?
No, but let me. I didn't see him this year on the speaker thing, so I guess he's not going.
Bummer. I saw him on something else. He's going to that MUFON thing you're going to, right, in July?
Is he?
I don't know. I think he's going somewhere.
Okay, because that would be great. I'd love to see him. That's in Cincinnati, which is another thing. Yeah, I don't see him on the website this year.
For those of you guys who don't know, Travis Walton's the one of the most credible and famous abduction cases of all time. Hollywoodized movie, Fire in the Sky. They're coming out with a new movie, though, I think, that's more true to the story, I believe. Maybe he's working on that. But anyway, he's kind of a guy. He would be the guy I would have wanted to go see. But I want to go see them all. But
see, Travis is a very interesting person in respects to. You know, a lot of people, they try to get into this community and, you know, like kind of like make it like their career, like, you know, I don't even know how to say it, but basically be like an influencer type of person. Where Travis, it's almost like his story is so haunting to him that he really doesn't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
You know, so he will talk about it with people. He will go to the shows. But it's almost like, you know, this is a very heavy burden for him to carry around. So I'm not surprised that he may not be coming to this show. Because like I was last year, I went out for dinner with him last year. And you can tell that, you know, bringing these memories up is difficult for him, especially in these type of settings when there's so many people. But I think he does love doing it. Like, he does love doing it, but it does take a toll.
Yeah.
Makes sense that maybe every other year, every few years, you just need to take a breather and rest on it.
Yeah. But he is, like I said, he is the only one that I know of that has had this experience at that level and has talked about it since it's happened. Nobody else has had that happen to them.
No, they haven't. So when we interviewed Yvonne Smith, who's also going to be a speaker there, she's a hypnosis regression therapist for people with UFO abduction scenario. She did mention there's kind of a spectrum of like experiencers that she comes across, and Travis would fit that, like, you know, like Betty and Barney Hill, maybe the only ones kind of similar.
Yeah. The thing with Travis is like he truly believes that whatever happened to him in the forest, it killed him. That's what he thinks. He thinks that whatever happened, that blast that shot him across the field, whatever that blast was, it ended his life. And for some reason, he was taken, not maybe because it was an accident. And so whatever these intelligences are, whoever these beings were, They have some type of morality because they
Yes.
go, we just killed this guy. Let's take him on the ship and fix him and drop him off when he's better. And that's what he believes now, which is a hell of a story.
That's amazing. It's always been a thing. I kind of wanted to go to Snowflake, Arizona, and kind of go up in those woods and go camping, but I don't know if that's a good idea. I wonder if other people do the same thing. I don't know. I don't know much about Conscious Life Expo, Jason. Would you mind telling us about that a little bit?
Yes. I would say Conscious Life Expo is more in tune with the consciousness, new age philosophies like aliens as well. So you get this kind of mix between like the Contact and the Desert Crowd and also like these spiritual conscious people. It's very interesting because when I go there, there's so many speakers that I don't know. I've never heard of these people. And a lot of them are spiritual mediums or channelers. Some communicate with aliens. So you get this really interesting, eclectic group of people that I've never heard of before. But when you start talking about, let's say, like interdimensional alien philosophies or out-of-body experiences or shamanic journeys, it really fits in well with all those things, you know. So, I think it's my second time doing Conscious Life Expo, and hopefully I can do it more, and share this information. But it is a very good time, and you get to meet a lot of new people as well.
That's pretty cool. Thanks for sharing that with us. It sounds like a great conference to attend.
Yeah.
What about in July, the MUFON Symposium?
See, this one I was always afraid of going to, because I'm friends with MUFON people here, and I got some hilarious stories from MUFON in Ontario. But for them, they're very much to the book. They're very much to the letter of. MUFON is very much a scientific approach to things. So when I come along and start talking about out-of-body experiences and entities and things like that, it's nothing that they can grasp. It's nothing that, they could write it down, but it's not really a sighting. It's more of like a spiritual experience. So they've asked me to speak before, and I've always kind of said, you know what, I'm not really going to step into this because my information is a lot of these abduction scenarios, a lot of these contact experiences have absolutely nothing to do with flying saucers and little green men from other planets.
Yep.
And I completely believe that to the letter. So, for many that are in this community, when they hear that, they're like, okay, this guy, I don't want to talk to this guy. Because they really want the nuts and bolts. They want the craft. They want reverse engineering. They want the bodies. They want to scientifically use that information to advance the human race. And there's nothing wrong with that. But that's more like the side of MUFON. They're very much into documenting to try to figure out this phenomenon from the scientific perspective. I'm like the complete opposite. I'm like, let's have a ceremony and let's see aliens, So, but this year was different. This year, actually, they are getting into the whole experiencer phenomenon, and they want to hear experiencer voices that aligns with experiences of UFO and alien contact. And I finally said, you know what, I'm gonna talk. So I'm going to MUFON in July. I think it's the 17th to the 20th, if I'm not mistaken, in Cincinnati. And I can't wait because I get to share my experiences with their audience and their community. And I really feel like I do have insight because, it's not like, a lot of UFO experiencers, they'll go out and let's say they'll have this UFO experience and then that's it. And then their whole life, they have that story of, I was out, I saw this craft and this happened. It's like when it comes to out-of-body experiences and contact and even seeing things like this, I could write a book on it, which I just did.
Which you just did.
You know, so I could put like 50 stories in there and explain the progression, because when you're an experiencer, it's not like something just happens to you spontaneously. It's like things happen to you your entire life. It's like a chain of events your entire life, and it's leading you to something, or it's pushing you to look into the mysteries of life. And you know, what I really believe is that we have given a name to something in our culture that has always had a name in cultures around the world throughout time.
Yes.
And because we live in a technological space, because we do know that we can have, like, if we exist on Earth and we have technology and we're smart enough to send satellites and go to the moon and send probes into space, if we're smart enough to do it, and trust me, when I look at the human race, I can't believe we've even come that far. You know?
Right.
So, you know, with an infinite universe that is like continually expanding with billions and billions of planets, how can there not be intelligent life out there? How can there not be life out there sending probes or learning space flight? The odds of it are very good. So because we have that knowledge, when someone has an experience on Earth, we can now take that knowledge and kind of overlay it, saying what we've just experienced has to do with a multi-planetary system, with aliens, with this and that. And I think what we have to do is we have to kind of separate experiences, you know? So it's like, if you see like a ship in the sky that's like, you know, it looks like a triangle with lights, and it looks like a military craft, like it's metal, has lights. I would say that is physical, real, it's here. Could be experimental, could be something we don't know. But you could also go out and experience, let's say, like a plasma ship, like a UFO that it just looks like a ball of fire, and you could probably see through it, will flash in and out of the sky. I would say that is something far beyond something that we see that looks like a metallic ship in the sky. So we have to start separating things and saying, maybe this is something else, and maybe this is something else, even though it falls under the umbrella of the UFO experience.
That's an interesting point to note. And I also enjoyed your point about how some people are really into the nuts and bolts. And when it comes to these different conferences, I guess each one does kind of have a specialty, but it's interesting to observe the linkage between each one, because it takes all sides of this. It's an interdimensional coin, many sides.
Exactly. And you know, that's why I like the name of your podcast, The Multiverse.
Thank you. Yeah, that's kind of what went into it, and it had a nice ring to it. I don't think we even we didn't even go through it, choose it. It was like the first thing we thought of. So it was meant to be. What do you think about what Jim Fry says here about intelligence operatives at these conferences? I think that's probably true. Mike, what do you think? What do you think, Jim? What do you think?
Can't wait. And we'll be making notes. Dave and I are going to be making notes and placing bets on who we think is the CIA operative.
Did you know the game? Have you heard of the game?
Oh, yeah, is this some kind of bingo game?
Yeah. At all these conferences, this has been going on for a very, very long time, even before I got involved.
That makes me so happy.
But there is a game where you go through these conferences, and it's called Spot the Fed.
Yes. Richard Doty appears wearing a face mask or something. Mask off, Richard.
Yeah. So, but if you understand counterintelligence and you understand how things have operated for the past 80 years, I would say that the entire UFO mythology has been shaped by counterintelligence purposefully. So are they still doing it? I don't see why they wouldn't. I mean, you know, I could watch these conferences in Congress right now. And is that counterintelligence for public consumption?
And I
or is it something real?
we got blessed enough to get out into the mainstream by the powers that be, is it not just curated disinformation for directly from people like us that are looking at that? I don't know.
I think this is why both of you are going to love my book.
Awesome. I think that's a good segue into the book. I did want to say I'm definitely the mark for counterintelligence, as you can see behind me. I'm like the guy in pro wrestling who like thinks it's real. Like, oh no, Hulk Hogan turn bad. But no, not really. I give myself a hard time. But yeah, I'm excited to hear about your new book, Astral Experiences. Correct? That's the name.
That is
it
correct.
out yet?
I just uploaded it today, so it should be available by next week. I'm crossing my fingers if everything's good.
Cool.
By next week. Nice. And it'll be available everywhere there's books, on Amazon, etc.
Yes. So it will be available soon. And, you know, I came on your show to do like a little teaser and just say that it is coming. Because with me is I never tell people I'm doing these things, as in like writing. So like I'll just kind of take space, which I did for the past couple months, and I'll write something. And then like when it's pretty much finished, I'll put a post up saying, hey, guess what? A new book is coming out.
I noticed that. You didn't even mention it last time you were on the show. And then you were kind of like a little bit quiet in the space for a couple months.
Yeah. And that's what I do. I don't know if it's my ADD or something, or ADHD. It basically, once I get a task, I cannot stop doing that task until it's finished.
I wish I had that problem.
And a book is a big task when you get on, hey, I'm going to start writing this book. That's a big old task.
Yes. And it takes a lot of discipline, especially to get it done this fast. You basically have to treat it like a 9-to-5 job. You got to write like 5 to 10 pages a day. And then, give it a month or two and you're going to get a book. Yeah.
Even then, 9 to 5 and a modest goal, 5 to 10 pages a day, that's reasonable. That's not staying up for 2 days on end and burning out and then, like some. Yeah.
Exactly. And, this is, and I talked about the gateway experience in the book, actually.
Yep.
Oh,
Pat Breeze, that's why your wife loves you.
Pat, you're not supposed to be here. Okay. You need to be in your workshop. You got a lot of tools. You got to play with those.
Pat is a weekly Multiverse live joiner. We love Pat on the show.
He's a really good guy. Yeah. He knows too much, though, and that's the issue. He knows way too much.
Maybe he's a Fed.
Yeah. I don't know. The beard is concealing it. I don't know. But what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So the gateway experience.
Yes, Monroe tapes.
Because when I was first having my out-of-body experiences, the first names that I've learned of was the Monroe Institute. So whenever I would mention like leaving my body and having these experiences, someone would say, do you know Bob Monroe? So I didn't. So I got his books, and a friend from Florida actually shipped me CDs with the Gateway meditations on them. And I did actually listen to a bunch of those. There's one meditation in particular, and I don't remember the name of it, but basically it gets you to breathe like kind of self-hypnosis, where you focus like, say, like on your toes first, and you slowly like breathe into different parts of your body. And that one for me is like, that works for sure. That's a good meditation for leaving your body.
And of that series of tapes, so it is kind of a progression. You go in a certain sequence or order, but once you've worked your way through, you can return to certain exercises that were particularly effective and say, okay, yeah, tape number 7 or whatever worked well for my body or my sleeping style.
Yeah. So I did like it. I don't know what happened to it. I don't even know what happened to my CD player, but it's been a long time. That's like going back like 15, 20 years ago.
Pat just he's already finished in the workshop. So.
Oh, nice. Well, that's good.
Have you heard of the rolling log gateway? Got me out of body.
I don't I'm guessing, is that when you're in the state of it's kind of like the state in between sleeping and dreaming, and you kind of roll out your back? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, we'll wait to see if he responds. But yeah, I wanted to quick
state.
the hypnagogic state. I wanted to just show you everyone the book cover. This is awesome, man. What's who made this? How did you where did this come from? What's the inspiration for this?
I would just say it made itself. And I'm not using AI.
Okay.
My background is in design. Okay, so yes, I got the answer. Yes, that is one of the ways. But okay, so this cover, my wife's cousin, get this. Okay, my wife's cousin in Poland, he loves the stars. And he has this incredible telescope in his backyard. So every night he goes out in his backyard and when it's nice out, and he'll take pictures of the stars. So like a couple weeks ago, he sends me this picture of I can tell you the exact nebula of it if you just hold on one second.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just go to because it's all in the credits of the book, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's called the Rosette Nebula. The Rosette Nebula. And so he took this picture and he sent it to me, and you know, because he's very proud of his work. And I looked at him I'm like, damn, that's a beautiful picture. Could I use it? And he's like, yeah, sure. So I started to look at it, and at first it looked like an eye. And then I'm just kind of looking at it on the screen. I'm like, you know what? It looks like this being stepping out of it. So what I did is just photoshopped, kind of like drew a body in the thing, just manipulated the image a little. But it's mostly an actual photo of the nebula, but it looks like this astral being like stepping out of the abyss.
Yeah, cool.
It's awesome. I'd buy that book. In fact, I will buy that book when it comes out. And we do a book of the month, so we'll put it on the list in a few months. We'll feature that as our book of the month.
Out of the abyss and into the multiverse.
And the reason I wrote the book in the first place was I've kind of shied away from, you know, like you met me from, I think it was Gates of the Anunnaki. You know, I think that's where and this is where I was kind of like deep diving into kind of the beginning of knowledge, which is the stars, and how do we measure the stars and the cycles of the stars. You know, that's how I really, that's what I really deep dived in the past couple of years, but I've kind of shied away from my personal experiences. And that's how I got into this community in the first place. And it's been 10 years exactly. It's been 10 years exactly since I released my first book with a gentleman by the name of Bob Mitchell. And I wrote a book with him 2015, which was all about these experiences. And we put it out, and 6 months after the book was released, he passed away. And because he passed away and because of some other personal things, I wasn't really prepared for how good the book was going to do on the world stage. My wildest dreams, I thought I would just kind of stay local in Ontario because that's where I was originally doing these things. But then, you know, I released the book with Bob. It got on to Coast, and suddenly it became very popular very fast. And I wasn't really prepared for that. So with all these circumstances, we took the book down, you know. So you can still see like Forbidden Knowledge, Revelations of a Multidimensional Time Traveler on Amazon, but you can't get it because it's been down for so many years. And I was in LA a couple months back. Actually, it didn't even start in LA. It started about 2 years ago, I believe. It started in Las Vegas. It was in Las Vegas. And I started to talk about this again. And I was invited on a podcast, which is called Acid for Squares. I don't know if you saw that interview.
Look
But
forward.
it's a big show, and they got a big following on TikTok and Apple and all these places. And it's like for over a year they've been kind of pulling at me, tell your story, do this, come on, like we got to get this information out there. And I went and did a podcast with them when I was in LA, and one of the clips from my podcast went like really viral on TikTok. I think it's up to almost like 500,000 views right now, with like thousands of comments. And most of the comments were, what Jay is saying happened to me exactly. You know, that's like the perfect response you want to hear from people.
Yes.
A lot of people also commented, don't do drugs, which I understand too. But but it feels like the story needs to come out again. You know, there are people really interested in this topic. And originally I stopped talking about it just because there's so much judgment based on like personal experiences. Like, how can you prove any of this? You can't. You know, it's like talking about your dreams. How can you confirm your dreams? And so I decided, you know what, I'm going to write this book. It's the 10-year anniversary of my first book. Let's take that first jump into out-of-body experiences, astral travel, entities, contact, interdimensional UFOs and interdimensional beings. Let's just take all that information, dump it in a book, and give it out there. So that's what this new book is about, Astral Experiences. And hopefully it resonates. I know I sent you an advance copy. I don't know how much you look through, but
we didn't get very far. Did you want us to flash up the table of contents or keep it?
Actually, you could flash the table of contents.
Okay,
If
cool.
you want, yeah, I can share only that page. I won't even scroll down.
All right.
I did want to say, Jason, the last time you were on the show, you talked a little bit about this stuff, but then we went into the astronomical angles and that kind of thing, which was great. That blew my mind. But I walked away from that show going, man, I wanted to ask him more about that other stuff. So that's why I'm super excited and grateful that it sounds like it took a lot of, courage and putting yourself out there to do this. So thank you so much.
Thank you. So I would just say from like page 13 to the end to page 150, I would say those are all like personal stories. All right. They're not like researching anything. It's just, this is my really weird, really crazy story that is going to entertain you and you're going to learn something from it.
Can I ask, is it in chronological nature or is it organized by the category or classified type of experience?
Both. Okay. And I actually explained that in part 2, Entering the Void, that it's like, it's literally impossible to put it chronologically, because what I want to do is kind of group the same type of events together in a way that would be understandable. But it does follow a chronological order, like I would say like a shamanic journey. So it's like, the first things that start to happen to you, and then like the full blown, like going through portals and having contact with aliens, and seeing past lives and all these things and how they relate. And then it gets into the shamanic aspect, which is like, traditional healing and the things I used, like qigong, shamanism, crystals, plant medicines, all these. You can see I have a part 3 plant and crystal teachers, where I talk about my mushroom experiences and ayahuasca and crystals, and they're really fun.
Got a direct question for you, Jason, up on the screen.
Yep.
Yes, I did. That's actually, if you look at page 24, and well, actually it's from 24 to 30, Shadows of the Past Life, The Scarecrow, and Reliving. Those are all like when I was a child and having these experiences of beings coming into the room and taking you out of your body on journeys. So so it happened very early on in my life, and it stopped when I was around 11 years old, and then it started to happen again in my early 20s.
Mhm.
So there was this kind of lull space growing up. Yeah.
I think Jim mentioned the same thing. I'm trying to find the specific comment, but he said that at the beginning it happened to him as a child, and then it stopped happening, and he was able to get back there with the Monroe tapes. So, yeah.
And when we get to part 5, that's when it gets more into like the research end of things. So I do incorporate a lot of like historical things. So there's historical documents, historical cases, and I tie it back into my story as well. But it kind of gives you this kind of, what I wanted to do is expand the multiverse of the experience into the interdimensionals of the alien contact things. Yeah.
I see what you did there too.
That's tremendous.
Yeah. So
Hopefully everyone's enjoying an exclusive sneak peek at the table of contents for Jason Quitt's upcoming book.
Yeah, Astral Experiences, and I'm just super pumped about this. And I wanted to ask, is this what the topic of your presentation at Contact in the Desert as well, or what?
Yes, there's going to be. I'm going to do 3 talks at Contact in the Desert.
Wow.
Yeah, they really got me working. So, so one of the talks, yes, is going to be about this, which we're going to talk about. I'm going to frame it as the interdimensional theory. So the talk is going to be the interdimensional theory, which I'm going to talk about all these different cases throughout history that kind of favor this kind of idea that this type of visitation between worlds is a thing that is a dimensional thing. It exists in these kind of like dimensional spaces of the earth. So it's like we can't see them when we're physical, but because we're a multidimensional being, as we kind of shift into different states of awareness and consciousness, we could then tune in to these other dimensions that are right here, right now, like the spirit world.
Yep.
But there's more than just that, so there is these intelligences or non-human intelligences that exist here right now, but they're just out of phase with us. And this is where a lot of this contact experience comes from. So I'm going to talk about all that, historical cases, and talk about my own personal experiences that basically showed me that world before I knew that people were writing about it. So that's my talk. I'm also going to be talking about the stars. I'm going to have one presentation about the language of the stars, and I'm going to do another one that's like the Egyptian postures, which I'm going to teach you about meditation, breathing, postures, things like that.
Got it. So I was curious how it works over there. Like, so are some of them like larger rooms for larger stuff, and then there's smaller rooms with more intimate classes and stuff? Because that postures one sounds like it would be like a smaller group or more intimate kind of group.
Yeah, usually depending on your popularity too.
Sure.
Usually for the classes, I usually get like a small room which fits maybe like between like 30 and 50 people. And then some of the bigger lectures, you get into rooms that are a couple hundred easy. So I remember the first time I ever went to Contact in the Desert. This was, I think, 2016 or 17. It was still out in the desert, and it was one of my first talks to the community, and they put me in the biggest room. And it was standing room only. There's got to be a couple thousand people in there, and that was one of the first talks I ever did. So it was crazy. I can't tell you that experience. And then I look back at my whole presentation. I'm like, did I really actually talk about that stuff? Like, it was good for the time, but I guess, I've come a long way.
Wow. But you still did great for being thrust onto the big stage before you ever expected it at that point.
Yeah. So that was fun. That was an experience. Yeah.
At least you didn't know it was going to happen, so you didn't have to stress about it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. What can you do? You just go up and just start,
Right. I wanted to ask Jim, you should come to Contact in the Desert, see Jason speak, and meet Mike and Dave as well. I don't know if you have the time, but it's what is it, the 29th to the 3rd or something like that?
Yes.
That I believe so. I got the website up here just in case I need to go back.
You want to share the website?
Huh.
Yeah, this will be our first time there. Mike and I aren't going to do too much podcast related kind of stuff. We really just want to be experience the event. We'll have some business cards and stuff, but like we really just want to be first time goers and not like be worried about getting content, you know?
Yeah. It's May 29th to June 2nd. And there's so many good people here this year.
Yeah.
They've updated their website since we bought our tickets. This has a way cooler background animation and slick new logo than even from a few weeks ago, I think.
And Josh Gates. Ooh, Josh Gates is going to be there. That's going to be fun.
Heck,
Yeah,
we haven't looked at this in a minute.
I'm looking forward to a lot of the UAP guys like Ross Coulthart and George Knapp. This is that's going to be a big one for me. Since meeting Yvonne Smith, I might do a regression with her. I don't want to get into it, but I'm thinking about it. We are in contact. Linda Moulton Howe is like we've seen her everywhere. I can't wait to like just meet her in person. That's going to be so cool. She's an OG for sure.
Yeah. I'll say like just Richard Dolan. He's the man. Richard Dolan's great. George Norrie, Cankerog, Jimmy Church. Like they'll all be there. You'll all get a chance to meet them.
We signed up for Daniel Sheehan's Citizens for Disclosure. So we're on the list now. We're hoping to get some stuff we can mail to our state senators or something. I don't know, but we're on board.
Avi Loeb, I wonder what he's going to. I guess he's going to be talking about a Muamua or what? I wonder.
Appearing virtually, that'd be cool.
There's just so many options.
Anthony Peak.
Do you know what days you're going to be speaking on?
We would have to check on here, but I think they do it like every day. So I'm doing something every day.
Got it. I wanted to take Mike out to Joshua Tree while we're there. I don't know exactly how close it is to the resort, but I don't know if we can rent a car for a day or what.
It's about like 20-30 minutes drive.
I just feel like if you're right there, you kind of have to go check out Joshua Tree. I've been there 3 times, I think, and Mike's not been.
Yeah, I mean it's stunning. Like especially if you go around nighttime, you just have to watch out for scorpions.
Yeah. But the stars there, like there's a place called Borrego Springs in California, as well as Joshua's Tree, where just the first time I'd ever seen the like Milky Way in that like majesty, like totally changed my life. And I don't know if Mike's ever seen that, like, but I'm gonna take him to. We're gonna find somebody with a car who's gonna take us there.
The last time I would have seen stars like that would have been camping. So Boy Scout years, middle school, high school, because I did do a couple of did a summer camp in West Texas in the desert. We did do California one year, but it was kind of somewhat Northern California. But that would have been when I was a kid. So yeah, I can see a little bit of stars, but like there's some minor city lights,
Oh my gosh, the Joshua Tree is like, I can't even describe it. Like, it's like awe-inspiring in so many ways. The nighttime sky there.
You have to go to Big Rock.
I've been there, but not at night. I was at a particular campsite the 3 times that I was there. I bet I've been Big Rock during the day. Why do you have to go there specifically?
Because it's a big rock.
There exactly.
Because of the UFO history there.
Yeah,
there is literal UFO history there. George Van Tassel, that's where he would have his community or weekly meditations. Channel UFOs. I mean, that's like the hub, right there.
I like how they have at Contact. They've got these filmmakers like James Fox. Can you scroll back up a little bit, Mike? James Fox made right. Stop there. But James Fox made the documentary about the Varginha, Brazil incident and a few others. And if you haven't seen them, I think it's called Moment of Contact. It's a mind blower. Jesse Michaels, I'm interested to meet him in person. He really puts out some of the best content in the space. Very good, very high production value. Great thumbnails. Always gets me to click. Shout out to Rebirth of the Word, a good friend of the Multiverse. He's in the chat. He's putting his status. I can't pull it up. Can you? It's a tweet. Can you, Tyrone? Can you send that? Can you send that to me in a message, and I'll pull it up from X? I can't click it from there for some reason.
Anytime we click on a chat, all it does is show it up in the screen. It doesn't actually follow the link. That's kind of annoying.
I'm trying to talk Tyrone into coming into contact too. He hasn't given me a for sure yet. He keeps teasing me, but
he's saying that the Anunnaki came from the sea, which they do say that, and this could be a literal thing of the seafaring ancestors of knowledge coming by boat or coming out of the sea, underwater UFOs.
Yes.
Who knows? Really.
Also in the ancestral mythology of numerous cultures around the globe of beings coming from the seas after a great cataclysm and helping reboot civilization.
Yeah, and symbolically, if you want to go the symbolic route as well, when they say the sea or coming from the waters, they also could be referring to heaven or the sky. They saw the Milky Way as the river or the sea. So there's many stars that they could have been referring to as well. But they are depicted wearing fish suits, coming out of the water or in the water. So there you go.
There's Tyrone's post. Thanks, Brittany. Brittany's our Jamie. Shout out to our producer, Brittany. Always Johnny on the spot. We really appreciate her around here. Yep.
I like how they highlighted some filmmakers on there. Oh, go ahead, Dave. Go ahead.
Oh, it's all good. It says no cuneiform tablet from Mesopotamia mentions the Inuna Anunnaki coming from a planet named Nibiru. However, the tablets do say they came from the depths of the sea. And yet, Tyrone's he gets right down to the literal interpretation of this stuff. And he if you want to know exactly what was said in the historical text, that's your guy. Check out his channel, Rebirth of the Word, on X and YouTube. Interesting guy.
Well, I'll tell you a channeled message that I got, and I know it's channeled, so don't take grain of salt. But and this was in the book Forbidden Knowledge. But basically, what I wrote in this was about Atlantis, and I had these questions about Atlantis. So I was asking who were the Atlanteans, and the answer that we got was that they were beings that came from another planet, but they did not come here from any ship. They didn't travel through space. They came through a portal in our oceans, and they said that their physiology on their planet had more water in their physiology than us. So they were made to survive in the water. And they said, so they originally came through a portal in the Atlantic Ocean, and they were a species that lived in the water, and they would come out of the water to teach or to talk to the first humans. And over time, they started to move onto land and get more accustomed to the earth and then marry into the human population. And then they built the first city, which was Atlantis. So that was a channel message that was in the book Forbidden Knowledge. I didn't put it in the new book because it's also channeled. But remember, back then, I didn't know anything about the Anunnaki. I didn't know anything about the mythology. I didn't know anything about those things. So to have that message when you don't know anything about these subjects, I think is pretty cool.
It's one of my absolute favorite things to do as we discuss all of these topics and investigate. Whenever someone independently comes up with the exact same conclusion that someone way over here, far out, that never heard, that's the type of stuff that I've filed. Those are good data points that I filed together.
Oh, the Dogon has similar stories. Very cool.
Yeah, and just wanted to say we interviewed the OG of Dogon cosmology, Mr. Laird Scranton, and if you haven't heard Laird Scranton, or if you just want to hear him again, go back and listen to our episode. That guy is amazing.
Oh yeah.
He's got all the Dogon stuff. You mentioned portals in the ocean. Jim was mentioning portals in Peru. What do you suppose, like, is like, I don't know, just a riff, but why some areas of the earth have portals and some don't? Like, what would you speculate on that?
I would speculate that there's portals everywhere.
Ah,
I would say they're everywhere, but they spontaneously open. I'm just trying to go. I reposted something on my Twitter. I'm gonna have to find it. Oh, here we go. I'm gonna copy this and send you the link so you can see this.
breeding with humans first mistake. I got that, Mike. I'll pull that one up.
I love posting things on Twitter with absolutely no context because I know there's people out there that I'm just like winking to, like, hey, do you see what I'm seeing? Wink, wink. Okay, so go down to this picture. You got to scroll down.
Okay.
Look at
Holy
that.
moly!
It's like coming. It's like coming through the portal.
What?
Is that crazy?
Wow.
That's incredible. He's got one of those helmets on too. Where is this? This is in where?
Scroll up. I believe it's like Central America somewhere.
La Venta.
Olmec, yeah.
It's in Olmec. Yeah, those Olmecs are always wearing these wild helmets. And look at him coming out of the portal there. That's insane.
When I saw this, the first thing that came to my mind was like, this is like the story of creation. It's the walking out of the portal into our world to start our civilization.
Yep.
You have stories like this all over the planet. And I actually wrote about that in the last chapter of the new book, is all these different cultures that claimed that, there was a bridge or a portal or a light and their ancestor walked out of it to start the lineage of, the Chinese, the Japanese, like the burning bush, like all these stories of coming out or having this portal open to receive information or people walking out of it. That is crazy for me. So when I saw this picture, I'm like, that's a powerful picture. For me, that's coming out of the portal into this world.
I've never seen it before. I'm surprised. I'm blown away that I've never seen that before, but that is insane.
And this could be completely symbolical, mythological, but for me, I'm thinking, could this also be a literal thing that happened of them coming out of the ground to live on this planet? But they did not come here. They weren't originally from here.
Right.
Wild. Yeah. Tyrone says, Rebirth says he's got your first book, so we're waiting. I guess he's waiting for the second one, or not the second one, but the new one.
Oh, it will be out, and it has some fun stories. That's all I could say. So a lot of the book is research based. I mean, my older books are all research based of the stars. This book is completely different. I wrote it so you can't put it down. You're going to be entertained. You're going to laugh. You're going to cry. I hope. So it'll be fun.
So
we're excited for it. Thanks for giving us a preview.
For sure. I was curious, like behind the scenes, you say basically kind of shut yourself in and write a book, but is there, you literally make it a 9-to-5 job and commit to 5 to 10 pages a day? And do you have any other, processes you use for writing or?
No. Like, well, I would say this book was probably the easiest book I ever wrote because I'm just telling my stories. Like, I don't have to research that. I know my stories. But in the past, I would do a lot of meditation. Mm-hmm. So, for example, the last two books, Astral Genesis and Gates of the Anunnaki, they're not topics I was actually thinking of. Oh, yes. And that is a portal. It actually is a portal. Vesica Pisces.
Yeah. Shout out to Peter, Enigma Seeker.
Yeah. Truth.
Yeah, we all did.
we all come through that portal.
Yeah.
But basically the questions in those books, or where those books took me, I wasn't even thinking about it. They're just kind of like non-human intelligent thoughts just popping into my head in meditation. Why is this? Why is that? Oh, that's an interesting question. Let's look into that, and just kind of go from there. And then that's where the last two books came from, was research and meditation, where this is just experiences. And at the end, there's some research. Yeah.
So was it more fun, would you say, to do?
I would say it's cathartic.
Ah.
A lot of the things were hard to write. A lot of things were emotional. Like, remember, when you're sharing your experiences, you're putting yourself out there. You're telling the world some of your most intimate things.
Sure.
That has happened to you. And I know that people will attack certain aspects of these stories, but because it's me, you got to speak your truth, or what else you got, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it was very cathartic to go back and relive these memories, and to write about them, especially from now in this time of my life. When I first, oh my God, John D'Souza's here. How are you doing, John?
Thanks for coming. Thanks for joining the show, John. We appreciate it.
Yes, and if we were playing the game, we would have won right now.
Because he's the Fed.
He is the true FBI, or a retired true FBI agent.
Very cool.
The real X-Men is here.
Thanks for joining the show, John.
And so, when you go back into these memories and write them, when I go back to Forbidden Knowledge, which was written 10 years ago, it was written from a place where I was 10 years ago, So I have a perspective on those experiences back then. 10 years have passed, and I've changed a lot as a person. I've had more experiences. I have more knowledge. And now when I go back and rewrite these stories, it comes from a very different perspective. How are you doing, John?
You're loved, Jason. You're loved.
Thank you.
It's still the same experiences, but you have more insight into them from 10 years of added experience. You can kind of maybe explain the initial ones more clearly than at that time.
Yeah, because remember, it's like, when you first get into this, and let's say you have an experience where there's like this shadow in the room with you. If you don't know anything, your first instinct is this is like a demon or an alien or a haunting, and you're scared and terrified. You turn to your Bible, you try to figure out, you call on all the gods, you try to figure out what's going on. And then the situation ends and you're like, well, what actually happened? It takes a long time to process this, to figure out what this was, because what we put as our beliefs on the situation may not be what is actually happening. It's just we have no bearing of understanding of what these things are. So the moment it happens, we immediately put our belief system into place of this is what it is, and we explain it to ourselves. So I find a lot of experiencers, they start there. So everything that happens to us, it's through our own filter of where we are, our culture, our place in the world, and that's how we tell our stories. But then as we age, we start to understand maybe it wasn't the way it was. Just like Travis Walton. It's like at the beginning, it was like, took him, they did this to him, they probed him. This is where the whole alien abduction thing came from. And now when he looks back at it, he's like, damn, they actually saved my life. So I'm grateful for them. And he goes, I'm the stupid one who went out and got too close. So it takes time to gain new perspective in life.
Peter says there really are demons. John would back me up on this.
I completely agree. I back you up on that as well.
Yeah. I think what's fascinating to me is so Adam Butler, Book of the Month, buy it, support the show. But he basically has achieved certain like levels of, I don't know, astral traveling, for lack of a better word, through the use of DMT. And it's very similar. It's almost like identical. Some of the things he describes is what you describe. And so that always fascinates me. It makes me think it's double confirmation that there's a gateway in our own mind, in our own heart, and our own soul that can open up, and sometimes you need a key, but sometimes you need a kick in the head. So, sometimes you're Jason Quitt and you just have to live with it for your life.
Well, there's a lot of stories where, like you said, kicked in the head. Somebody will get kicked in the head by a horse or something. They get knocked out, and they live an entire life in that couple minutes that they were knocked out. They wake up in the hospital and they're like, "Where's my wife? Where's my children? Where's all these things?"
Right.
It's crazy that, like, are we living simultaneous existences, and does it take a horse to kick you in the head to figure that out?
Right.
Yeah. I like to think about that. I hope so.
Yeah, no, I talk about things like that in the book, and there's some funny things that I won't get into now. But like I say, we live in a very weird world, and that's what makes it fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes it fun.
There's so many different things going on. It's fun to try to figure them all out and connect them together, because a lot of these things are connected.
Yeah, there you go.
And it's almost, I don't know, cliche to say everything's connected, like Mike just did, but it seems to be the case.
Yeah, the way that I like to describe it is, what are you once you strip away everything that you identify as you?
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of like the whole shamanic process of dismemberment. So it's like, get rid of you, and now you are boundless. You have no boundaries. The body, the mind, all these things are boundaries that we are placed in, that we identify with. And the moment we strip those away, and a lot of these drugs, I don't want to call them drugs, but a lot of these plant medicines, that's what they do to you. And that's why, they've been used traditionally in shamanic culture for thousands and thousands of years, is because that's what it does. It strips you of your boundaries. And then suddenly you're faced with the most frightening thing you'll ever face, is you are boundless.
Yep.
And if you're boundless, then like you said, everything is connected.
Point out a couple of similarities. Adam Butler described going exactly through this process when his life came crashing down, because he had the status, the job title, the salary, the car, the house, all that. And what was the other thing? I was just thinking, gateway tapes. Envision putting everything you own, all of your cares and worries, inside a box. And what do you do? I put the box, put it away, and forget all about it. I even put all my furniture in the box, blinds, curtains, and everything. When I'm done putting my stuff in that box, it's just walls and windows. And that's the beginning. That's one of the Monroe practices.
Yeah. Jason, have you messed around with isolation tanks, isolation chambers? I've never done that before, but that seems to be a gateway into certain realms of your mind. Have you ever tried that?
I haven't, but there was a period of my life where I got very, very into the plant medicines. I really tried to figure out that world. So that was before I was married. So it's more than 10 years ago. So, but those were my methods.
Okay.
But a lot of people ask me, it's like, a lot of your stories, do they come from that? And I would say almost none of my stories come from that. They all come from before that.
Yeah, Mike's been going on about that for a while.
I got through the first few exercises in January, February, and I need to get back to my studies.
Well, you're on summer vacation, Mike, so it's time for summer vacation.
I wanted to share this really quick. I do recommend the sensory deprivation chamber. I've done it before. I'm actually fortunate. They've got one down the street here where I live. And there's sort of different levels of benefits, I would say, because you can go in with your mind racing, with your stomach gurgling and whatnot, and still get the benefits of the magnesium from the Epsom salt. It's still going to soothe your muscles. You're in a gravity neutral situation, so you can sort of loosen some tension. But then again, if you're not caffeinated and you're modestly fed, you can relax a lot more and get into a meditative state in the neutral temperature water. So there's opportunities in that direction. I almost fell asleep one time in the tub, but the fact that I was about to fall asleep and I was lying in water really snapped me out of it. But I have a feeling if I did fall asleep in there, I could have very easily gone and done some things.
Shout out to Mr.
What's up, homies? We can't wait to meet you, Chris.
Yeah, shout out to Chris Cottrell coming on the show soon for an episode of Cosmic Mondays. Looking forward to meeting you in Greensboro, North Carolina as well. Wanted to ask Jason about Cosmic Summit. Have you ever been? Have you ever thought about going to Cosmic Summit?
I've recently heard about it. Okay. And I recently heard about it this year. And I looked at the guests and the speakers. They look amazing, and it's right up my alley. So I hope next year possibly they'll get to hear my name, and then I can go and present the star knowledge and the ancient myths. Do a presentation of that.
I think that presentation would fit right in on the bill, and not that like Mike and I are BFFs with George, but I will like he's been super nice to us and been supporting our show a lot. George Howard's the promoter of the event, and so maybe I'll put a bug in his ear about you, and especially you did a good presentation on that stuff on last time on our show, but if there's anything specific you wanted me to send him, I'll send it to him. But sure. I think he'll love you.
Sure. What I would say is that also there's not many things on the East Coast.
Yeah.
So when there is something on the East Coast, I'd like to support it for sure.
Yeah.
And I will look for something to send him. But yeah.
Yeah, I'll try to make the connection. I think he'll appreciate you. But again, like I'm not his BFF or anything, but he was nice enough to make us like featured guests. We're on the dang website. He gave us a promo code. So promo code Multiverse, all caps, if you want 10% off the Cosmic Summit. And yeah, I'd love to. You should just come, Jason. Just come for the event and check it out.
That's around the solstice this year, isn't it?
The 20th, exactly.
Yeah. Shoot, I was thinking about it, but I may be double booked, so I got to figure that out. But yeah, that would definitely be a fun trip.
I see your question, Jim, and I just wanted to address that really quick. When you say blink out, do you mean blink out meaning like fall asleep and then wake up later on in the exercise and blink out from the exercise? I'm not sure what you meant by that. I have fallen asleep during a couple of the exercises, but I've also gotten into a state where the time seems to just go by much faster than for 30 minutes goes by.
You know what you should try is the Thomas Edison version, which is Thomas Edison would go to sleep in his chair and he'd hold like a metal sphere in his hand. And as he would fall asleep, once he fell asleep, he would drop the sphere and would hit the floor and wake him up.
Interesting.
And because of that, it would jar him out of like that first sleep where you gather the most information.
Yes.
So he would like wake up with these brilliant ideas or these brilliant memories and write them down. So that's what he would do. Yeah.
Something to catch yourself as you fall asleep. That's an interesting idea. And so Jim said pass out. So definitely, yes. The first one, typically not the very first tape, doesn't give you that drowsy, but the second or third or fourth ones, which is about as far as I've gotten, definitely fell asleep a couple times. Perhaps that was my own fault for trying it late at night, as I should have been just going to bed. Also, I used to listen to music in earbuds. I know that's not good when you. I've fallen asleep with headphones before, so it's not unusual.
Yeah. Man, this has been a fun episode having you back in the multiverse, Jason. And sorry for throwing you under the bus there at the beginning of the show, but it's just been on my mind, and I know it's been on yours, and I thought we, navigated it well.
Yeah, and when it comes to politics, another thing that people don't understand about Canada is a liberal country.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
It's always been a liberal country. So, when you say like conservatives here, it's not like right wing. It's like center left. It's like not real
Yeah.
like conservatives that you have in the States.
For sure.
You know, we only have like one like real right-wing party in Canada. It's called the PPC, and they got decimated in this election. They got like 100,000 votes throughout the entire Canada.
Wow.
So they don't have 0 seats. So a lot of people they freak out when they hear the word conservative, but it's not what they think it is. It's not what the States is. They're trying to make it like it's the States to scare people. It's not actually what it is.
No, so the sky isn't falling in Canada, and it's nice to get that report from somebody who lives right along the St. Lawrence River there in Ontario. Yeah. What do you think?
What? Hold on, I'm reading what John said. He goes, "What would Tesla do?" Tesla was so psychic. He was beyond psychic. I don't even want to say bordering on schizophrenia, but he would literally have people standing in front of him that only he can see. And he would see his inventions, not just in his mind, he would see it in front of him as like a 3D hologram with all the pieces working perfectly. And then
Wild.
he designed the devices. So Tesla was like beyond like that. A genius like that, you know, I wouldn't even compare him to Elon Musk. He's like, you know, Elon Musk doesn't even come onto the stage compared to Nikola Tesla.
Yep. Sounds like we made front page of Rumble. What's up, Rumble? We like the Rumble platform. We use it in addition to YouTube and whatever else. So if you're watching on Rumble, thank you.
Nice.
Wow, that's so cool. Rumble, we need to give Rumble a little more love. They deserve it. We've got lots of shorts we need to upload there. You can see every one of our episodes of Humans of the Multiverse, as well as all of our live streams on there. And I think we've made like 57 cents on there. So let's go. Let's go.
Gotta start somewhere.
Absolutely.
Hey, yeah, exactly. This, honestly, Jason, I remember that what's funny is you agreed to come on our show like early on. I think we had less than 100 subscribers, and just support from guys like you and Ricardo Calvario, and you know, it's just Rebirth, Tyrone, and stuff like that. It's just really been the most amazing thing to see how far we've come to go. Like now we're on the front page of Rumble. We're on the Cosmic Summit website. I don't know how this happened, but I think it's just because Mike and I are genuine and we enjoy these types of things, and we enjoy talking to people like you, and just feeling super grateful.
And go ahead and tell us your next few speaking engagements. Where can we see you in the near future?
I will be at Contact in the Desert, May 29th to June 2nd, coming up real fast. And then the next thing is in July, 17th to the 20th. That is in Cincinnati, and that's MUFON. So MUFON Symposium, that's going to be really interesting too. And then after that, I do not know. I think I might be in Calgary in the end of June. But we will see. That's the solstice thing. And if not, I'll try to make my way to the Cosmic Summit. But I don't know. I got a lot of renovations. There's a lot of things falling apart in an old house that I got to fix. So.
Well, there are day passes for Cosmic Summit. So if you can make it to one of the days, that might be cool. They are having the Caffre project team from Italy coming in to do like a whole thing. So
wow, that's cool.
Yeah, that's the big draw this year. We mentioned MUFON a couple times. I just wanted to shout out this guy, Mr. Earl Grey, passed away. I think he was like the director of the California chapter of MUFON. He touched a lot of people's lives. He did a lot of hard work in the space, and I just wanted to say shout out to him, and thoughts are with his family. He was a very influential person in the Mutual UFO Network. So just wanted to throw that out there. Did you know this guy, Jason?
No, I didn't really know too many people from the U.S. When it came to MUFON. All my stories come from the Ontario branch of MUFON. Yeah. So, but I'm gonna go meet people from MUFON this year, so I'm excited. I get to make new friends.
kind of making me want to go there too. I just don't think my wife's going to let me go to any more conferences this year. I'm also trying to get her to go watch a big fight with my favorite fighters retiring in New Orleans in July as well. So I don't know if I can.
For the UFC?
So many things. Yeah, for the
Yeah.
UFC. Shout out Dustin Poirier, Dustin the Diamond Poirier last fight, fighting Max Holloway. It's going to be good. We don't talk sports or fighting on the show too often, but it's just sometimes my David bleeds into the rest of the show. And you mentioned earlier, but you're expecting the next 2 weeks, Jason, for the book.
I uploaded it today, and it takes 2 to 5 days.
Okay.
So that means I'm going to probably go into launch mode next week.
What does that mean, launch mode?
Launch mode as in I'll try to get on shows.
Mm-hmm.
I'll post the links everywhere. I'll promote it. You know,
so cool. We're the official sneak peek then, huh?
You are the official sneak peek. Yes.
Nice.
We're honored.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so honored.
Since we're
I don't know. I don't know if
Oh,
John D'Souza is still here, but I have a story.
Tell
Because
us
John was actually one of the first friends that I met in San Francisco. And no, pre-sales are not available because I don't know how to do it. But we went to this conference in San Francisco, and I walk into the conference. I don't know anybody. It's like my first conference in the States. And I'm sitting in the back of this lecture hall, and this guy sits next to me, and I don't know anybody, so I just turn to this guy next to me. I'm like, "Hi, I'm Jason Quitt. Nice to meet you." And this guy turns to me, he goes, "I know who you are." And he just gave me this look, and I'm just like, "Okay, who are you?" He goes, "I'm John D'Souza, FBI." And I was like, so I think we did the same conference, our first same conference together, and so that was really interesting. So I got to meet John, and the rest is history.
When was that?
That was 2016.
Okay.
And he also wrote a book called The Multidimensionals, I believe the name was his book, and he really gets into that information too. He also talks about his life story growing up. It's a really good book. There's a lot of good stories in John's book, The Multidimensionals, and I think I wrote the foreword to John's book as well. So thank you, John. We got some history there.
Brittany, can you grab the link for that and throw it in the chat, and we'll also put it in the description. The Multidimensionals by John D'Souza.
I think that's it. No. It's Clear Hearers. Clear Hearers. That is the book I helped John with. Clear Hearers. Multidimensionals is the book he wrote before that.
Let's put both of them in there then.
Yeah.
Very cool. I'm just excited to have John D'Souza in the chat. That's pretty awesome.
Thanks to everybody.
Now you can put him on the spot and tell him to do your show.
Yeah, you're welcome anytime.
Yeah, for sure. You are welcome, John. Send us a message.
Yes.
Send us a message on X or an email. And all of our information will be in the description of this YouTube video. We'd love to talk to you and hear your story and plug your books. That's kind of what we do. And yeah, official FBI in the house. Very cool. Very cool.
This has been a blast. We can chitter chatter for another couple minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and start playing the song. What have we missed?
I did want to talk about quickly what's coming up.
Yep.
Before we got an episode of Humans of the Multiverse dropping tomorrow. Like Mike and I
tomorrow.
We love these topics, but we also just love all human experience and all stories. So we like to mix it up and just have people having, for example, filmmakers, authors, photographers who aren't into UFOs and lost ancient history. And we got the chance to talk to a young man named Sam Shimizu Jones, who is a Japanese-American filmmaker. And I just wanted to play a quick short. It's not an actual official short, but just a quick 1-minute thing of Sam. His episode drops tomorrow. A very nice young man with a great story. Let's check him out. Oops, he's
have these passions. I think what I love most about documentaries is you meet these people that have these passions and these things that they spend their lives doing and committing to, and I get to sort of come in and either share their story or share their life's work story and why they do what they do or how it's impacted the people that it's impacted. And for the most part, most of those people are interesting and just good people trying to make a difference and are making a difference, and I get to sort of help them along that way. So
it sounds like that's an important part of your process, is the people you're working with and the organization and their values and that kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. I for a long time my motto was to do work that spoke to me in some way, and to help people that were doing good.
Nice guy, and really interesting conversation with him. We also got a third episode of Cosmic Monday coming out. Mike, tell us about Cosmic Monday.
Cosmic Monday is our series of interviews that we're doing promoting Cosmic Summit with as many guests and speakers as we can get. We're still recording more. Let's see, Brian Corey Dobbs' episode released this week. Whose is going to be next week?
It is going to be TV personality Scott Walter. Did we lose Jason? That's okay. TV personality Scott Walter from America Unearthed. Talking to Scott Walter was weird for me because I've seen every episode of his show on TV, and so I was a little bit starstruck in a weird way. I don't often get starstruck, but I've literally seen dozens of hours of his content, so it was fun to talk to him. Do you mind if I play his short quick, Mike?
Go ahead.
So he's a expert on the Kensington Runestone. This is his thing. This is what he's going to be talking about at the Cosmic Summit. So promo code Multiverse, 10% off to see Scott. Here we go.
So anyway, I really got involved in this world back in the year 2000 when the Kensington Runestone came into my lab. And I never heard of it before. I didn't know what it was. Frankly, I didn't care. I can't fall in love with my projects. But I ended up doing a two-stone study, and I concluded that the weathering of the inscription was hundreds of years old. Therefore, it couldn't be a late 19th century hoax, as everybody claimed, and still claim that it had to be genuine. And of course, that's when all the trouble started. And then I went looking for the language, the runes, the dialect, the grammar, all of that. Found it all because the rock said it was real. Therefore, all that stuff has to be consistent with the 14th century because it's dated 1362, and found it all. Boom.
Yeah. Dabbler's Den, Chris Patel says, love that guy. Me too. I remember going to Cosmic Summit last year, and I sat down at the bar, when I first got downstairs. I looked to my left, and there was Scott Walter, and I was like, this is so cool. And that was it sounds like it's similar at Contact in the Desert, like Jason was saying. You really get to meet these people and rub elbows with them and that kind of thing. So
it's very sociable, very open environment.
Exactly.
Yep.
And I just wanted to show quickly, because I just found this here. If John's still here.
Beautiful.
Here's John's books. And I wrote the foreword on this book for John. Let's see here. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Very cool.
And then these are the books that I was on your show before, and then my new book will come out. I think I'll come back on your show for a little segment when I'm holding the book. I can show it to you.
Yeah, you're welcome anytime. Just let us know. I think we're planning on doing Thursdays at 6 p.m. Eastern all summer, right, Mike? We might change it up though when Mike's school schedule comes back. It might be Multiverse Live on Wednesdays. when his school schedule comes out. Enigma
Yes,
Seeker,
it'll be
I'll
that
tell you
way.
I'll tell you how I get in contact with these people. I just try to be really nice to everyone I meet. And I try to be really open and honest and genuine. I try to be enthusiastic. And that's how we got guys like Scott Walter on the show. We got an interview coming out with D. Randall Carlson. You guys look forward to that. That's going to be in 2 weeks. Danny Hillman, Mike, say his last name for me.
Nadawajaja.
Yeah, the expert on Gunung Padang's site. This has been a wild journey. Jason got to be here at the beginning, and we hope he comes back through the rest of the journey, man. We really love having you on the show, dude.
Yeah, thanks.
Support us by checking out our link tree. It's got links to all of our pages. Go to www.buymeacoffee.com and give us a donation. Or if you're using Via Hemp products, use the promo code that we provide to support our show. We plan to be back again next week to do it all again. So, hey, everybody be safe. Be kind to everyone around you. Thanks for joining the show today. Peace out, everyone.
Everyone in Europe, if stay calm, everything's going to be fine. The grid's back on. We love you and take care.
See y'all later.